In 2002, Boards of Canada would release their darkest record yet, Gotti. Even though this album was critically praised, just like Music Has the Right to Children, fans started to get skeptical with this album. Over the course of 2 years, they would find a lot of hidden messages in this album that would relate to math, the occult, and even Satanism. And if you want to check out all the references, I talked about it in my Gotti video, so go watch it if you haven't already. This would make fans even believe that due to their abandonment from society, they believed that they were actual leaders of a cult or Satanists themselves. Yes, this is real. And due to this nonsense, Boards of Canada just decided to change back to their old sound, along with a twist of acoustic elements as well. And then, in September 2005, previews of songs appeared on the Warp website, and a listening party was held in New York City for a supposed new album by the duo. And then, on October 17th, 2005, Boards of Canada would release their third studio album, the Campfire headphase. Now, this album would not be so praised at first, with the most popular example coming from Pitchfork, saying this:
"This feels like a step down from the last two albums. It would be very hard not to step down from the heights scaled by those records, but by subtly altering their approach and adding bits of guitar, the Campfire headphase never really seems to give it a go. The Campfire headphase is a good album, and it's almost, but not quite, a good Boards of Canada album."
Yeah, this is by the same people who gave Discovery a 6.4, so... Listen, I'm gonna sound like everyone else, but I do not get the hate for this album. This is my second favorite BOC record, and I believe this has no skips. Okay, maybe except for one, but we'll get into that later. By the way, shout out to Album Affairs once again for helping my inspiration into this series, and his video on this project is really good as well, so check that out while you can. And if you want more of a music theory deep dive on this album, check out Ixie's video on the Campfire headphase as well. But anyways, let's get into this album. Starting off with... The title of this album really explains the feeling of it, as said by the duo in an interview.
"We imagined a trip where someone parks their car in the middle of the night somewhere in the country, lights a campfire, and then dreams of the rest of their trip."
The very cool artwork that's in this album is also greatly explained by the duo by saying, "It's like you found them in someone's old house, and that the people in the photos are all dead." Honestly, that's pretty cool. But anyways, let's get into the music. Starting off with... Along with all the other starting interludes on their albums, this track is pretty interesting and calm. There's not exactly a reason why this track is called Into the Rainbow Vein, but my theory is that it's supposed to mean taking drugs. Most people associate with the vision and sound of taking drugs as very psychedelic and colorful, and I think this track matches that perfectly. But that's just my idea. Chromakey Dreamcoat is the first actual song on this album, and is obviously a banger. Now, if you've never heard of the song before and it sounds really familiar to you, well, you must have watched a lot of Adult Swim in the mid-2000s. You see, Adult Swim has a goated music taste when they air their bumpers. They have music from Aphex Twin, Madlib, J Dilla, MF Doom, Square Pusher, Flying Lotus, and of course, BOC. I could go on for days with the full list. But anyways, Chromakey Dreamcoat and a bunch of other tracks from this album were used quite a lot in their bumps back then. And nowadays, they mostly play stuff from Music Has the Right to Children and various EPs, but I'm not complaining. The title of this track is two words combined together that both have different meanings. Chromakey is a technique used in video production that is obviously for green screen or blue screen. And Dreamcoat is unknown, but it might be a reference to a musical called Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Apparently, the guitar loop in the song was recorded on the beach with a very fucked up tape recorder that Marcus found in a charity shop. And this guitar loop kinda does bring the vibe of relaxing on a beach or something. It's very nice. But after a while with the guitar, nice synth patterns, and seagulls calling, the track just simply stops. And then it transitions into an entirely different track. It has a very spacey vibe to it with this never-ending rise of sound in it, and I love it. There's also some samples at this point in the song as well. At 4 minutes and 30 seconds, there's a sample from a 70s Reese's Peanut Butter Cup commercial appearing in the right channel, but it's very slowed down.
My chocolate
is in my peanut butter.
It's doggone good.
And at 5 minutes and 16 seconds, there's a sample from an early 70s anti-drug hygiene film called Social Seminar Tom.
I did it 2 years. I did it last year and I didn't like it at all, so I didn't do it for a year, and then I did it 2 weeks ago for the Christmas formal.
For the Christmas formal, it's a fucking sacrament.
Just see, because Christmas formal last year was so funny. I thought, well, maybe I didn't like mescaline before, but I had such a good time. It was just so funny.
Satellite Anthem Icarus is another banger. Again, the guitar loop carries the song along with the wavy synths in the back that, again, sound like you're on a beach or hiking in the wilderness next to a rapid lake. The name Satellite Anthem Icarus, if it's an acronym, is SAI, or Strong Artificial Intelligence, and the brothers actually studied AI while they were in university. But what's even crazier is that if you blend the words in the title, it could form the phrase, Satanic Elite Them Are Us. So maybe they haven't gone back? But an obvious thing about the title is that it's referring to the character in Greek mythology, Icarus, who was a person who escaped an island in which they were imprisoned on by building wings and flying. However, he flew too close to the sun, causing his wings to melt and made him fall from the sky, and he died by drowning in the water. Icarus is also literally a celestial body orbiting the sun, and could be considered as a satellite. And at the 4 minutes and 14 second mark, you can hear someone whisper the word satellite. Peacock Tail extends this banger run with another chill track. The title could be a reference to the NBC Peacock, which was the main logo of NBC in the 70s and 80s that was a rainbow peacock. And rainbows are frequently referenced in their tracks like Into the Rainbow Vein from earlier and Roy G. Biv from Music Has the Right to Children. Some people believe that the track Rodoc's video from A Few Old Tunes is an early version of Peacock Tail, and I could kinda see it. What's interesting is that at the 3 minutes and 7 second mark, you can hear a distorted sample of someone speaking in Arabic. And what they're actually saying is the Islamic call to prayer, which is this one in particular. What do I even say about this track, first of all? It's a literal masterpiece and easily top 3 BOC of all time. Like, come on, I don't even need to explain why. The title, Dayvan Cowboy, could be referring to as a man who drives the Chevrolet Astrovan, or Dayvan, which was a van that was manufactured from 1985 to 2005. And mostly, I'm not a big fan of blocky vans or cars, especially this fucking thing, but I like this one. I don't know why. The duo even explained that there's kind of a story along with the song.
It's about a surfer who thinks he's a hero. He has a very personal fantasy. This fantasy is about going out into the wilderness, doing extreme things, and staying overnight in a van that he customizes. It's about being in touch with nature, traveling, and adventure. When we're writing songs, we often feel like we're soundtracking someone's road trip. This time we felt like we were making an anthem to honor dayvan.
This song was also technically the first ever major Boards of Canada single, along with the music video that I'll talk about in my next video. Oh yeah, you remember Adult Swim from earlier? Well, this track was used in an advert that featured Family Guy. So technically speaking, Family Guy is canon to BOC. A Moment of Clarity is a nice little interlude. Don't need to say much about it. The title refers to the phrase, a moment of clarity, which is often referred as a turning point in someone's life when recovering from an addiction. And that's really it for this track. Let's go on to the next one. Jesus Christ, this song is so underrated. It is not only my favorite track on the Campfire headphase, but my favorite BOC song of all time. The duo says that this track is about a guy who's stuck in traffic and overwhelmed with his thoughts. Obviously, this track is referring to a Pontiac car from the year 1984. But which one? Well, it's been speculated that it is the Firebird Trans Am or the Night Rider. Why? I don't know. There's also bits of jingles that appear in both the left and right channels of the song, with one inspired by the jingle of Stephen J. Cannell Productions. This track is weird. It's slightly detuned and sounds like a scrapped song off Gio Gotti, or honestly a hockey game. Apparently, the samples seem to have been recorded off a portable tape recorder due to the microphone sounding like it's banging off objects. The name could be referring to the frozen dessert sherbet, or the British powdered candy, which makes sense due to the fizziness in the background of this track. But anyways, let's go on to the next one. Oscar's See-Through Red Eye is another track where the percussion really carries the track. It makes it very funky and it has a nice groove. I love it. The title could be a reference to the 1995 PC game Bad Day on the Midway, where in one part of the game, you can see through the eyes of a rat named Oscar, in which his vision is red. And some sounds from that game could also be included in the track as well. Ataronchronon is both hard to pronounce and a weird track, probably my least favorite off this album. The title is derived from the name of a 17th century Indian tribe called Ataronchronon, or People of the Marshes, who lived in Ontario, Canada. This track also has a sample that comes from the background music loop on their old website as well, called Gone. Hey Saturday Sun kinda reminds me of Taking a Flight a lot, probably due to the underlying drone that goes throughout the track. The title could also be a reference to the Nick Drake song Saturday Sun. And that's it. Let's go on to the next one. I love this track. It's probably my favorite interlude on this album. I just love the paneling and the effects that they use in the guitar in this track. Now, the title for Constants Are Changing has to do with math. Once again, a mathematical constant is a quantity whose value does not change and is the opposite of a variable. So, pi for example. Or, it could be referring to a quote from Heraclitus, who said that the only thing that is constant is change. But what I think this title means is that it's a shift in tone in the album, with constant meaning of feeling, from drugged out happiness to sadness. And this is most likely seen in the next tracks we'll talk about, such as Slow This Bird Down is a very slow but chill track that is very underrated in my opinion. The track's name is actually pilot slang for reducing speed during a landing. Near the end of this track, you can hear a collage of Morse code, data signals, and teletype signals. And if we translate every single one of these codes, we get this. The first code is just a Scottish call sign, nothing much. But however, the second one is pretty interesting. A Tuism forum member found out the code has no call in the sign, but when removing the M out of the code, it's a call sign for the name Ra Lord. Ra is the name of the Egyptian sun god, but has been speculated also that it takes form of a bird in mythology. See? Now you get it. However, this isn't actually the name, believe it or not. It's for a person named R.A. Lord, which makes this just a coincidence, but it's still interesting. Tears from the Compound Eye is one of my favorite tracks from this album. I just love the heartbreaking and slow synth along with the swirly noises in the back. It just does something to me. Compound eyes are eyes that belong to both insects and crustaceans, and they have those eyes that have the shapes in their vision, and most of them feature a hexagonal lens, and you already know where that comes from. Alright, last track. Farewell Fire is the closing track and is probably the most sad track on this album. Just like with Corsair and Open the Light, this is just one keyboard synth played and nothing else. This is also the longest track Boards of Canada has ever made, at 8 minutes and 26 seconds. Only because there is a 5-minute long fade out. It's also been believed that the track 1986 Summer Fire from Tuism is an early version of this song. The title also really correlates to both the title of the album and the story that the duo told, and the long fade out is supposed to represent the fire slowly fading away, ending the journey. You already know where this is going. Bonus track time! Macquarie Ridge is the bonus track that appears on the Japanese release of the Campfire headphase. This track could be basically determined as a reflection on what we had gone through in this album, with the reverse drums representing us going back in time. The title is referring to an Australian Pacific plate boundary that is south of New Zealand that forms a major boundary between the deep waters of the Pacific and Indian Oceans. And that's really it for this track. Kind of a boring way to end off this one. But anyways, that is the conclusion into the deep dive of the Campfire headphase. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see y'all in the next part of the series, where we will talk about some highway or something. I don't know, but I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.